like at least on the so on the documents case, and then probably on a lot of the Jan 6 stuff, he was fucking dead to rights, right? So he was going to jail for sure if this decision didn't come down. At least on the document stuff. Jan 6 gets a little weird when it comes to evidentiary standards. They might have had some rough times, but when it comes to the documents case, yeah, he was gone. He was convicted 100%.
I think in 2016, with the Russia Crossfire Hurricane and the investigations, where that all started with him, every single time it's been said that he was going to be found guilty and go to jail, and
who said with Crossfire Hurricane? Who said that Trump was going to be found guilty of anything?
And just the Democrats in general, like the media.
Is that like like a valuable
source? They're talking about breaking the law.
Is that like a valuable source of information? Like just being like, oh, the media said he's going to be found guilty.
Do
we value that, or do we think maybe we should like look to like the prosecutors and the evidence and all that? Like, I think that's probably like in my opinion, that's better, right? I would say that's better.
I agree. But when you're talking about like the way people think, and a general majority of American people that vote the president in, I think it's very important to think about the way they're thinking and the way they're being steered by the media and what the narrative is. I would definitely not discount that, because that's the most powerful thing right there. Regardless of source.
Maybe you don't discount it, but maybe you don't like completely discount it. But like I feel like I just feel like Crossfire Hurricane's a fucking horrific example to bring up, because the actual like lawyers involved in that case, like anyone from the SCO, the special counsel office, like Mueller himself, like they were very well aware that they had found absolutely fucking zero evidence that would have led to a Trump conviction. Like they knew that. He knew. Like, they were all very well aware Trump was not going down for that. Yes. So I would look to their opinions on that. And
it was just a media hit job, you know. Like, of course they knew there was nothing.
You think the investigation was
done on purpose?
You think the investigation was a media hit job?
Yeah, they just did it to get a news clip.
They had no good reason to start an investigation. Zero good reason.
Yeah, they honeypotted a guy, and there's like one of their sources was like a Russian asset they used. Like, no, I don't think there's a good reason to even move that investigation forward.
I think your brain is mixing the Steele dossier with the Crossfire Hurricane investigation.
It's all tied in though.
Mueller like almost instantly dismissed everything in the Steele dossier. Like instantly was
the
like,
Steele dossier
I can't.
Opposition research.
Yeah. So when you say they're one and the same, in terms of what we're like looking to prosecute an individual, they're absolutely not one and the same. One is an intel report, which is, you're not really going to use for prosecution. And the other is an actual criminal investigation.
They use some of that information. Sorry about that. They use some of the information in that report, though, like the meeting with Manafort, the hotel, the bribe, and
sure, they use some of the information. They didn't source the Steele. That's what I'm saying. Like it wasn't. Oh, we're gonna use this as a like this is our source. There's things that appear in the Crossfire Hurricane investigation and also appear in the Steele dossier only because those things happened. But it had nothing to do with each other. It wasn't one informed the other. They are just things that happened.
Things that happened that was funded by Hillary's campaign.
The creation of the Steele dossier was funded by Hillary's campaign.
Right. That's where everything really started, though.
You can say it's where everything, like, but this is what I'm trying to get to. Does it matter? Let's use it. This is great. Does it matter if Hillary's campaign funding opposition research, which by the way, like every campaign does, like this is a very common practice. So you're just like, this is selective anger about this one, because it actually yielded some results. Is it like because Hillary's campaign funded Oppo research and that Oppo research ended up having, getting people convicted of actual crimes? Does that mean that like all the crimes are invalid? Like they didn't happen? It just means like, oh, this shit didn't happen because it was the opposition candidate?
No, absolutely not. No, those people were indicted and that's the case. But all they wanted to do was tie Trump to Russia.
There's a solid argument to be made that like the goal from like at the beginning, the goal was we need dirt on this guy so we can win an election. But that again, I feel like this is one of those things that just comes back to expectations. Like I feel like people don't have like solid expectations or like a good understanding of how anything works. Like you should, when you hear that, when you hear like, oh, Hillary's campaign paid an intel firm to like come up with dirt on her opponent, like people are surprised to hear that, but you shouldn't be. Like, that should sound super normal. You should be like, yeah, I mean, they all do that. Yeah, sure. But you seem like outraged about it. Like, oh my God, they were just trying to get dirt on him. Yeah, no shit. They all do it. What are we talking about?
Yeah, but the difference is they took it to the president, and then they opened an investigation under the Obama administration.
The difference is they found evidence of criminality. That's the difference. Not by Trump,
they found what they were looking for.
But by his people.
And then
so the anger spawns from the fact that they actually found. So if they did the, say she paid I forget the name of his company, but Christopher Steele's company, his Intel company, right? If they had paid him to look for dirt on Trump, and it turned up nothing. He just wasn't able to find anything. He submitted his report and it said, yeah, the guy's all clean. He's completely clean. I can't find shit. And then that came out later, like a year or two later, it came out that Hillary's campaign had paid, Christopher Steele's company to do this investigation, and it all turned up clean. Would you be pissed off that she did it?
Well, I'm not pissed.
No, I'm saying like, would that, or like, what, you might not be pissed off, but would you have a reaction like, holy shit, what, this fucking lady paid an Intel company to do an investigation?
No. I mean, again, I don't really. That's fine. You said, it's a normal part of politics. But
totally normal.
It's when the FBI gets involved. It's when and someone said something about Bill Barr. He said he threw everything out. No, he didn't. What he said was the FBI should have never opened that investigation to begin with. That's all you need. Like if that's all you need, you don't have to do anything else past that. It just completely discredits them and that particular investigation.
Why in what universe would you want the FBI to get handed evidence of criminality and ignore it? I feel like now you can fight against this characterization if you want, but you're never going to convince me. I'm never going to not believe that this is what's happening inside your brain. The only reason the only scenario in which you would ever say like the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, it's in the fucking name, should be handed evidence that certain individuals committed crimes and they should ignore that. The only time you're ever going to say something like that is because it's Trump. That's the reason. It has nothing to do with that. It's just Trump. It's your guy.
Bill Barr. I'm just stating what the Bill Barr, the Durham report stated, in which they should not have opened up that investigation because they didn't have enough evidence or anything conclusive to even move forward with that, right? Therefore, if they did, and that wasn't the case, then it would be the case that they were probably reaching for something, looking for a way to tie Trump to Russia, using Obama's FBI. I mean, you should be concerned about that as well. That's weaponization of a branch of government.
Using Obama's FBI is definitely a wild characterization for an investigation that took place under Trump. But
they're like all Obama loyalists, so whatever.
They're all, they're being
investigated by
loyalists.
Trump.
They're all Obama loyalists. Yet Trump fired the FBI director. Trump fired Comey over this investigation. And then Crossfire Hurricane started after the firing of Comey. Crossfire Hurricane wasn't like Mueller didn't get brought on board until Comey was already fired. So to say like they're Obama loyalists, well, Trump, if you think like Comey was an Obama loyalist, well, the Crossfire Hurricane didn't begin until Comey was already fired. So then I guess they're no longer Obama loyalists. Now it's just Trump's FBI now.
I guess you're right. I mean, just people that want to, take Trump down, I suppose. Which would just be overall arching, democratic ideal.
If you want to be upset about the investigation ever happening, at all, I mean, I guess you can, whatever, who cares? My contention with people that do the get salty over the Russia gate, it's all a hoax, is that the investigation itself, the Mueller investigation itself, was done in a fucking disgustingly professional way. And the level of integrity that Mueller had engaging in that investigation is mind-boggling, especially considering the Department of Justice we currently have.
Yeah, no, these are smart people. These are professional politicians that know exactly what they're doing. I completely agree with that, which is even more concerning.
So what I'm saying is the reason I get defensive about I get pissed off when people are the Russia hoax, the actual investigation that we're talking about when we say the Russia investigation, the Crossfire Hurricane, was done in the utmost professional way. You can be a little salty about the underlying stuff. Sure, but then you'd have to admit, if you truly wholeheartedly believe that it should never have happened, it should never have been done, is that you would have to admit that you would have wanted the FBI to be handed evidence that of criminality. They were the evidence they were given at the start was all the Manafort stuff. They had that right off rip. You would want the FBI to be given evidence of criminality and ignore it. That's what you would want.
No, absolutely not. And they didn't ignore it.
You're right. They didn't ignore it, and an investigation spawned out of it, and that's Crossfire Hurricane.
Remember what Durham said though. They got the evidence,
I don't give a fuck.
and he found that it was not to be unreasonable about to even open the investigation. I think it should just stop there, and anything after that would be, I don't know, not above board, in my opinion.
All you need to open an investigation is to get an investigation started. You'd need like maybe probable cause, maybe, and I think for at least for Manafort they started with a lot more than probable cause.
Yeah,
for Manafort, that motherfucker from day one, literally from the day they opened the special counsel's office, like when the day Mueller was brought on board with his I forget the name of his friends, Jim Quarles and Andrew Goldstein, right? Or no, Goldstein was later. Aaron Zebley, boom, Aaron Zebley, Jim Quarles, and Mueller. The day that the three of them started the special counsel's office, they probably had enough to convict Manafort on day one that the FBI had already gathered up.
Here's what I'm getting. The FBI should not have opened the Crossfire Hurricane as a full investigation. It lacked enough verified intelligence and was based on raw, unconfirmed information. If that's not enough to stop you right there, I don't know what is. And anything after is not justified.
How is anything?
But yeah,
so you have intel information like, hey, this person did, like, we think this person did a crime. You don't think it should be investigated? What the fuck is the FBI supposed to do? The FBI? So is your contention that the FBI is like their job should be to sit back and just like fucking twiddle their thumbs, or like just sit on their fucking thumbs until like a conviction is handed to them?
Brother, there was a preliminary investigation into whether they should open the official Crossfire Hurricane investigation. So you're absolutely right. They did a preliminary investigation in which they found there was not enough intelligence or confirmed sources.
I cannot. Your logic is fucking mind-boggling me. It's absolutely fucking blowing my brain out of the back of my head. The logic is.
So if there wasn't,
because all we've got that we think at least like the main target at the beginning was like obviously Manafort, because for one, he was already being investigated for an entirely different thing. Motherfucker was already under investigation for FARA violations because of his connections with Turkey. So we've got this guy, a full-fledged member of the Trump campaign. We've got him pretty much dead to rights on the fucking FARA violations, but it also seems like he's had some collusion's not the right word, but he's had some contact with the Russians over the sanctions that the Obama administration put on Russia over election interference, right? So it seems like there's something going on with this guy, but because all we have is intel, all we've got is intel reports, no hard proof. We shouldn't even investigate further. We shouldn't look into it. Fuck it.
They did look into it further, but think about this, right? I was going to ask you this. If there wasn't enough intelligence and they did a preliminary investigation, look, I'm saying prosecute Manafort, but what you don't do is open an official investigation and get FISA warrants to then, quote unquote, spy on Trump's administration. That's what you don't do. And the people lose a lot of faith in the FBI when they do something like this, and it's very problematic. That's all I'm saying. I agree Manafort was guilty, or whatever it was, and there's no issue there. But this is what officials are saying that investigated the investigation, the Durham report. This isn't me. This is just, and this is definitely just sound, sturdy logic here, which we should be able to both just agree on. But I get, you got to do you too. I mean, it is what it is. But
I mean, generally speaking, if the FBI gets like handed information like, hey, this guy's probably doing criminal shit, I want them to investigate, and they did.
They did investigate,
and they even did it. They did like they even took it outside of the Department of Justice so that they could avoid the look of it being shady. They're like, well, it'd be really weird if we were investigating our own administration. Right, so we're gonna take it outside to a special counsel, someone unconnected completely, and let them like come to their own conclusions. And he did, and like he didn't like all the conclusions that like were every single conclusion that was arrived at from Crossfire Hurricane like makes total logical sense. I don't think there's any like. If you actually read like Mueller's report, I don't think there's anything in there that you could argue with, like that you could actually like bring up and say like, oh, this is corrupt or this doesn't make sense or whatever. Like all of it, at least Mueller's from his investigation, like everything was sound in there. And like, okay, this all makes sense. Yeah, you got evidence of this guy, this guy. And then when they didn't, the best part about Mueller's investigation is like the type of thing that I like someone like you would complain about of like reaching and looking for stuff. Like they deliberately didn't. They like deliberately didn't push Trump when he refused to sit down for a deposition with them, right? And they could have pushed, they could have like issued a subpoena, and they were like, no, we're not going to do that to the fucking president of the United States. We're going to leave him alone. If he doesn't want to, you know, sit for a deposition, then we're not going to press the issue. Like I don't understand like how there's complaints here. That should, I feel like from your perspective, you should be like look at that and be like, oh, that's like a act of integrity. Good on you.
Yeah, I somewhat agree with that, but I think the overall goal was just like a political hit job. Yeah, that's my original premise.
Yeah, I understand that's your original premise. Here's my original premise. When you say, this is like exemplary of my problem with this whole discussion. When you say they, who are you talking about? Who's they?
Well, I mean, they is, you're very right. It's very broad and sweeping. I'd just say like the Democratic Party as a whole.
Right. This is exactly, you can't point, exactly. You can't fucking point to anyone that had corrupt motivations.
Well, Hillary, Obama,
what did Hillary and Obama have to do with it? Probably some unnamed people. The Steele dossier.
Obama.
The Steele dossier is Oppo research. Are we not allowed to do fucking Oppo research? You could say she had corrupt motivations, but corrupt implies like just saying even using the word corrupt implies like you're doing something wrong, right? How is it wrong to want opposition research? That seems logical.
The reason I say Obama, right? Well, so the reason. You're right about Hillary, but obviously there was a motive there. But with Obama, like they came to him. When I say they, I mean the head of, and I could be slightly askew here because it's been a while since I talked about it, but the head of the CIA, the DOJ, I believe, they came to him and saying like, there's nothing here. And he should have done something about that, but he just let it go. So that's, that's also highly problematic.
I want to make sure this is really fucking clear to you and like super known. When like Mueller and his boys, Jim Quarles and Zebley, when they were brought on to get Crossfire Hurricane up and running and start investigating, the president of the United States was Donald Trump, not Barack Obama. Okay, I just want to make sure that's ultra clear.
Well, everything started when Obama was president, though. You can say that.
You can absolutely say that. But the investigation that you said was corrupt. Like at the beginning of all of this whole rant that we're both going back and forth on, the Crossfire Hurricane was corrupt. The investigation started under Donald Trump after he fired the old FBI director. Mm-hmm. So if you think there's corruption within the FBI, okay, maybe Trump thought that too, but he clearly, he thought he took action, right? He fired the fucking guy. If you think Comey was corrupt, okay, fine, you can have that opinion. So he fired him, and then they brought in outside counsel. They're like, you know what? We shouldn't be the ones doing that. If we're going to investigate this, it shouldn't be us. Like, we shouldn't do this. So they brought in a fucking outside fucking guy under Trump. So I don't understand. Like where's the point to the person that has corrupt motivation that actually had a hand in this? Like Hillary's motivations make absolute sense. There's like, it's not corrupt to me to like want to, research your opposition, and having a former intelligence specialist do it makes total logical sense to me. Seems like the correct decision. If you're in her shoes. Like Obama didn't put his hand. He didn't do it like up until the inauguration of Trump. Obama didn't like do anything fucking crazy. Nothing was going on there. Comey got fired over this shit because he refused to drop the investigation. If you want to say like Comey was corrupt because he wouldn't drop it, whatever. Trump fired him. But like what now? Like, who do we point to now? Mueller? You're gonna have a rough time there. Mueller's behavior was stellar.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to think about it, do a little bit more research into it. I haven't talked about this one for a while, but I do have to get going. I do appreciate talking with you. I think that you're definitely one of the better democratic discourse individuals on this app, so I do appreciate the conversation. Love to hop on some other time.
Alrighty.
Other than that, though, man, have a great weekend, brother. Be safe out there.
You too. Have a good one. All right, I'm gonna do over like the next like 2-3 days. We'll probably do a lot of this on stream. We are going to put together like notes. We're going to read everything we can get our hands on, and we're just going to do a gross amount of research on all the Russiagate stuff because it's coming back up now. Because Trump keeps bringing it up. Trump's like bringing it up a lot now. He's like, oh, Russia. He's like the Russia. He kind of like stopped talking about it for a while, but recently he's been doing the Russia hoax, the Russia hoax, the Russia hoax. So we're gonna fucking dig all the way the fuck into this. Thank you everyone for watching this video, and if you're still here at the end, you must have either really liked the content or you are a very dedicated hate watcher. Either way, please like, comment, and subscribe to appease the algorithm overlords. And I'd like to give a super special thank you to my YouTube channel members and TikTok and Twitch subscribers right over here. If you'd like to become a channel member, you can click the join button down below and gain access to a special role in my Discord server, the ability to watch these YouTube videos up to a week early, and have your name shouted out at the end of videos like this. Becoming a YouTube member or subscribing on TikTok or Twitch is the best possible way to support me directly, and I deeply appreciate each and every single one of you that chooses to do so. Anyway, thank you all for being here. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I wish you a fantastic rest of your day.